Former Democratic candidate Marianne Williamson put the hurt down on Tomi Lahren, who is a conservative Fox Nation host, on Twitter. Now, I'm going to go through this exchange, but also I want to discuss just how backwards this thinking is in terms of conservatives wanting to go back to work and thinking that is the answer to people not having any money. So, to start here, Tomi Lahren tweeted out, "To the pompous and self-righteous a-holes who are still trying to twist this, the desire to reopen America has nothing to do with wanting to go to the bar or party. It's about people being able to get back to work and make a living for themselves and their families." Now, this, again, I've discussed this before, but this falls into a singular line of thinking where the only way to receive money during this time is to go back to work, when that just is not the case. You look around the world, look in Europe, look in Canada, there is a guaranteed income that people are receiving. So in Canada, it's $2,000 a month. It's not completely universal, but for the most part, if you lost your job because of COVID-19, you can apply for the benefit and you will get it. $2,000 a month for the next 4 months, and then you still are able to collect unemployment insurance after that. And who knows, the CERB, which is what it's called in Canada, the $2,000, may even be extended if this crisis, if this pandemic keeps going on. So that is what should actually be happening in the U.S. right now. People, like, you see these, I don't want to spoil, Marianne Williamson's response here, but you see these big handouts to massive corporations and nothing for the people. I mean, does this not, I understand in terms of the conservative mindset, they have a certain, line to hold when it comes to them being able to make the money they are making. So, a Fox Nation host isn't going to come out for a universal basic income. But for their audiences, don't they see this situation where you have the Trump administration just giving handouts or bailouts to massive corporations, or handouts to massive corporations, and then nothing to the average person, to even Trump's voters? But $1,200, a one-time check? That is nothing. You need actual monthly payments if you are out of a job. And even if you aren't out of a job, if you were still working during this crisis, you should also be getting a raise because you are working, putting your life at risk, working during this crisis. But anyways, I also want to, before I even move on, the White House COVID cases contradict Trump's message on opening. So while Trump's administration is trying to get people back to work, trying to open, or at least introduce the idea of opening things back up, people within the White House are getting COVID-19, are testing positive. So if what is supposed to be the most, secure building in the entire country can't even keep the coronavirus out, how do you expect companies to keep it out? But anyways, in response to this tweet, Marianne Williamson responds, "And that's why people should get direct cash relief." What I was just talking about. Tomi Lahren comes back, says, "No, that's why people should be able to get back to work. This country wasn't built on handouts." Before I even go on, this country wasn't built on handouts. The U.S. was built on slavery and genocide. It was built on stealing land and then building on that land with slaves. You couldn't get a bigger handout for white people. So the idea that it wasn't built on handouts is completely ridiculous. But going on, this country wasn't built on handouts, and I'm so sick of Democrats trying to push it. You can be free or you can be dependent on government. You can't be both. Let me just poke a hole at this just with one example. Healthcare. Under Tomi Lahren's view here, you can't be dependent on government or you can be free or you can be dependent on government. You can't be both. What is actual freedom when it comes to healthcare? Is it having this current system that the U.S. currently has where it's, this piecemeal approach, all these different private insurance options where each company is trying to make more money than the next, and you have no real guarantee when it comes to choice of doctor? You may be in network, out of network, and then even if you're paying, you have health insurance, you still have out-of-pocket expenses, so you have it through your employer. Now you lost your job. Where's the freedom there? You lost your job, lost your health care. What's the freedom? Under a single-payer system, there is true freedom. There is no in-network, out of network. You have your family doctor. It's your family doctor regardless of what. There's no what plan because everyone's under the same plan, a single payer plan. So freedom of choice when it comes to family doctor, freedom of choice when it comes to provider. You can go to any walk-in clinic, get help. That is true freedom. Never having to think about the cost of healthcare. Being able to switch jobs, leave your job, go back to school, start a business. You have healthcare. Your employees have healthcare regardless of what you're doing. That is actual freedom. So how is it freedom to rely on the private market? It's not. This is just a BS line these conservatives always use. But Marianne Williamson responds to this with, how is it being dependent on government when it's our own tax money? When $500 billion is given to big companies who don't even need it? Why is that considered a reasonable bailout, but giving direct cash relief to individuals an example of a nanny state? Exactly. So this is the ultimate point here. You were seeing what Trump is doing. And to be fair, what Democrats are also agreeing to. Giving this bailout to corporations and then hoping it trickles down to the employees. Now, I think there's like one singular guarantee in there in terms of the companies not being able to lay off people for, I believe it's like 6 months. But there's no real oversight of the system. And even apart from that, what happens then? These companies will lay off as many people as they can when they are able to do so. Because the whole purpose of them is to make as much money as possible in the short term for the people at the top. So there is no guarantees here in terms of helping actual people, in terms of getting the money to the actual employees. Look at how many people have lost their job. Millions and millions and millions every week. It's another few million that have lost their job and in turn also lost their health insurance through that employer. Yet that's looked at perfectly normal. Oh, we can give $500 billion to companies, no big deal. But when it comes to giving direct cash payments to people, no. Oh no, nanny state, can't give people any money, can't give people any actual real help so they can pay for, whatever it is, rent, food, entertainment to keep themselves busy. Nope, people don't deserve any of that. Just the massive companies, the buddies of Washington, D.C., they get all the help. I think people are going to slowly wake up to this, if they haven't already. Because once you lose your job and you lose your health insurance and you lose any real ability to pay your way through life during this crisis, and it's unsafe to go back to work, at some point, people have to clue in that, hey, this system is rigged against me. Maybe the people that, I normally listen to, thinking in the conservative brain here, people I normally listen to, like Tomi, Lahren, Fox News, maybe they don't have all the answers. Maybe my life sucks right now and Trump's administration is not helping me. Maybe there is a different way to go about this. And that is when people begin to open up to the idea of a universal basic income, begin to open up to the idea of Medicare for all, a single payer healthcare system, begin to realize that the system, the way it is built right now, is rigged against the average individual. And if you want to be able to live a life where you have true freedom, you need a government that is strong, that is on the side of the working family and not on the side of massive corporations.